Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the first episode of our new Gym Leader Challenge focused podcast, the Gym Leader Chat Lounge. And I am joined by my co hosts, Tony Saia
What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
and Jon Patterson.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, and we decided to start this podcast just as a way to talk about the meta itself. It's a format we all love and play each week at Full Grip Games, chasing those badges and building fun decks. And we just want a chance to chat about it more, share it with you guys. So yeah, that's what this is going to be all about. We're going to do this weekly, recapping our league nights, any 3Ks that happen, meta discussions, Gym Leader Challenge news, anything like that. So yeah, we're really excited to get into it. This is the first episode. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, or anywhere else you can get your podcasts. So hit that subscribe button, follow us on Spotify, leave us comments of suggestions or your thoughts. Yeah, we just want to have a chill space to openly talk about the format we live, Gym Leader Challenge. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'm excited to get this going off the ground. How do you guys feel about it?
I'm pumped. It's something that I wanted to do for a little bit. Since I got into the format. So, just like looking forward to having a space to talk about it.
Yeah, we yap about GLC all the time. Some of us spending way too long standing around after league talking, and it's nice to kind of have a place to get it on film and document it.
That's right. Yeah, we always have a big group outside after league in the snow, in the cold, year round, standing around our cars after Natalie kicks us out of the building. Um, and now we're putting it on camera. So yeah, we're excited to get into it. Hopefully, we just have a good time doing it, and hope you guys like it as well. So without further ado, we're gonna just do a quick, more in-depth host introduction so you guys can get to know us, who we are, and our relationship with the format. So why don't we go around, say how long you've been into Pokemon TCG, how you heard about GLC in the first place, and why you stuck with it, and maybe one of your favorite GLC memories as well. So, Jon, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I'm John. So I started playing the TCG. It was right around the end of around the end of 2016, early 2017. So like around the end of the around the end of the XY block, beginning of Sun and Moon. And That's when I started. And then Gym Leader Challenge. I mean, we're all kind of at least local to Akron, and Full Grip's our locals. So Gym Leader Challenge sort of just fell in my lap as it was the other format that was presented at a time when the standard format was getting a little bit difficult to play, both because of COVID and whatnot, and just the nature of what standard was at the time. So it was a nice break from the standard format to have another format to kind of go back and forth with at your own local store. So it really just didn't get much easier than that to get involved in the GLC scene. Um, Favorite GLC type to play has definitely got to be water. I'm a big water head. I think the core of the draw of Octillery and Teleon setting up your deck, you can just do a lot of fun things with the deck. Um, Hydro Pump, low energy variants, all that kind of stuff. So it's just a fun deck, fun type to cook with. And then a favorite GLC memory would probably be we have the badge board at Full Grip Games, and we sort of started this thing when cards get banned from the format. We kind of just tack them literally with a pin straight through the card. And when Marshadow and Raikou got banned at the same time, we played taps as kind of a memorial to them and pinned those cards to the board. And it was just, yes, a nice send off to those cards. So just not necessarily gameplay, but just the fun things that happen in the GLC culture. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
but yeah,
I
that's
think
me.
there's a Daisy's help up on that board as well, isn't there?
Yes, some standard heads might have had some fun and got in on the GLC badge board.
Yeah, that's right.
They
I
feel
love that
left
board
out.
as
They
well.
gotta. They gotta find a way to make it about themselves somehow.
Yeah, all these little inside community jokes that we've got going. There's too many to count.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, let's hear from you.
I'm Tony Saia, otherwise known as Tony Poke. Um, I played the TCG, got into it way back in 2014. I think the set that was out was Furious Fists. Um, I got into it, played it a little bit, and realized it was something that like I really enjoyed. Um, and then as I kind of got into like my high school years, like around 2016, I got out of it. As X and Y was, or as Sun and Moon was coming out, XY was fading. Got out of it, and I didn't get back into it until Scarlet Violet Base came out, which was 2023, I believe. And I was a standard head for a while. Um, Played a lot of Gardevoir and Lost Box, but eventually, as is the same for a lot of players in our area, it seems standard kind of just gets stale pretty quick. The meta doesn't develop really, kind of stagnates, and you're just looking for something else to play, something more fun. GLC is more fun in my opinion than standard.
Mhm.
So yeah, obviously as John said, we're locals to Akron, and if you're local to Akron, if you live in the state of Ohio, it's probably worth it to build a GLC deck. Just because you're in, this is the epicenter. Yeah, I'm just like naturally drawn to the format because, like I said, living in Akron, it's like we're like the players here like feels like we directly like inspire the meta. It's like our matches are streamed. Um, players look at what badged, what won our locals, and they use that to kind of inspire their own locals. And like being in the thick of it, it's pretty exciting. Like having like a say in the meta. I think my favorite type to play is probably colorless. That's what got me. That's the first deck that I built. When it was mega broken with the double energies and Fan Rotom had just come out. That was the first GLC deck that I decided to pick up and play. Psychic's a close second though. That's had my heart recently. We've been working real hard on the Psychic deck at Full Grip. And I think my favorite memory to go along with that is one of the first locals I showed up at was Pokemon Day. I had probably shown up maybe 3 times to GLC. It was Pokemon Day 2023. I showed up with my colorless deck, and I won like this 32-person local, and I got a badge, and that was super duper exciting. And I was like, dang, it's a lot more fun than I was anticipating. I think this is something that I'm going to try to stick with.
Yeah, that Pokemon Day event was one of our biggest local nights I think we've ever had. Yeah, and then two people who don't show up a ton at the time were in the finals.
It was crazy for
colorless and
sure.
fighting. Yeah, I was super hype, and yeah, since then you've been all locked in. Yeah, we test a bunch, always chatting online about the meta and stuff. So it's just a fun time. It's fun to cook. It's fun to see new cards come out. Fun to think about how that's going to shape what's going forward. It's fun to think about beating Alex Carpenter each week. Something we can all relate to.
Yeah.
Listen, if you make it to the first place on the badge board, you're just public enemy #1. That's just how it works.
Yeah, it just so happens that it's been
That's
Alex
right.
Carpenter for like 3 years straight, for the most part.
Yeah, it's like the social network. Can't get to a million friends without making some enemies or whatever.
Yeah.
Can't get to 10 badges without everyone hating you.
So
no, I'm just kidding. We love Alex. We love Alex.
So for those of you who don't know Mr. Morse Mix over here, Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself too?
Yeah, so I am Ben Morse, also known as Morse Mix, like John said. Just a huge fan of GLC. Been in it since it was created. I didn't even live in Ohio at the time. I was back in California. I was just a fan of Andrew's stream all the time during COVID. It's what I would tune into nearly every day. He created GLC. Watching him and Jesse stream it, it just was like, yeah, that sounds sick. Like, something new to try. Jesse would always play his Hydro Pump deck, and that was the deck I fell in love with first. Had Blastoise. Blastoise is my favorite Pokemon. I was all about that. So uh, yeah, so that's how I heard about GLC. I'm drawn to it because it once you get into it, it's a very deep meta. I feel. I love how it feels to like have the experience to know the whole format. Rewarding feeling to kind of just be on top of meta changes like that and deck builds and it's so exciting when a Pokemon that's been out for a long time like maybe finds its way into a new archetype or way back into it. Even recently at the 3K, we saw that with Blacephalon, something that had kind of been removed from Psychic decks in the past year, made a big comeback and ended up winning the tournament. So we never know how new cards that come out are going to shape how old cards are played as well. And so that's like a really exciting thing to see, this, over 10-year history of the TCG since Black and White, all existing in this format that surprisingly works, like each type, obviously some types are definitely stronger than others. And while that gap might be widening as time goes on, as purple gets more cards, of course, it's, at the end of the day, it's still a miracle that, that it works at all, in my opinion, because the designers did not design for this format in any way. So it's crazy that, there isn't just one type that's like, oh, this is like far and away been the BDF, has always been the BDIF, will never change because they printed this one really crazy thing 10 years ago that, whatever. And obviously we have a ban list, so that changes and whatnot. But it works. The format works. The ban list is small. It's really fun. Standard. I played Standard a lot, even more so than I did GLC when I moved to Ohio. But the community is great. The badge race is so exciting. I love playing for something. Like I love having stakes, and I'm not someone who travels to regionals, so the badge race like really fulfills that competitive drive as well. One of my favorite GLC memories is definitely winning the 1K with the colorless deck, cooking it up a couple nights before, making those card cuts, and deciding on that final 60 with the gang. It was super fun to do, super rewarding to get to the finals and end up winning.
Lost Vacuum.
I hope to do it again, of course. Shout out Lost Vacuum, shout out Countercatcher, shout out DCE and Twin Energy, RIP. I also wanted to share my least favorite GLC memory, which is Season 1 playoff. Alex Carpenter versus me. Lightning versus Water. Hex Maniac, if you know, you know. I'm going to leave it at that. Worst day of my life. Nah.
He just always has it.
It took me a while to live that down.
He always has it.
That was my
Well,
you
I was saying, he doesn't have to have it if Ben has it for him.
Yeah.
I had it for him. That's the problem. That's why it's my least favorite memory. It was like all this year's worth of work. I was in the badge lead. Alex catches up in like the last 2 weeks to tie it, and then I ended up losing the playoff after this absolutely terrible play. And since then, I've washed, and Alex has just been risen to new heights, and we're all just chasing him at this point. But yeah, anyways, that's us. These are the hosts of the Gym Leader Chat Lounge. Welcome to the Gym Leader Chat Lounge. And yeah, we're not going to do as long of an intro each time, of course, but what we are going to do is recap what happened at Full Grip Games League each week. So why don't we hop on over to those standings and take a look at what happened last week at Gym Leader Challenge League. Tony, take it away.
So here we're looking at the standings for Season 3, Week 23. It was a pretty small night, 12 players. It's been pretty bad weather in our area, Northeast Ohio, recently. John, out of the three of us, is the only one that attended, and we'll be getting into his run in the tournament. As you see, he did pretty well, second place. Couldn't quite get there, but you'll hear more from John about his run in a bit. Alex Carpenter getting his 5th badge of the season. Um, I like Alex. He's my friend. He's running away with it though, and it's getting pretty disheartening. Um, it's getting harder and harder to come to league and feel like I'm in it, as a 2 badger. But I'm
Hey,
fighting.
he's got 5 types he can't play now though.
I
So
know,
like
but
we're all there, and also he's more. He'll show up more than anybody else. He has not missed a week
that's
this
true.
season. John,
Alex
I think,
Carpenter has the showing up buff, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's one part of the factor, but yeah, he's good at capitalizing on his finishes. But yeah, so he ended up in first place again.
Yep. So as I said, Alex finishing first, getting his 5th badge, his water badge. It was the best type definitely that he was missing. He got grass and lightning pretty early. Um, and he kind of just had water sitting, just waiting for him to play it. As I mentioned, John with 2nd place. Congrats to John. Now rounding out our top 4, we have Sean Roars playing RDT, a badge winner himself with Drago Box earlier in the year, and we had Dylan Ryan, founder of the Dwixty, in 4th place, rounding out our top 4.
That's right. Yeah, we had a good amount of water decks in the field. I think there was like 5, maybe 4 water decks of the 12 players, so a whole third of water, bit fewer on psychic. But yeah, John sneaking in there with. I think this is the first time since Mega Evolution. I would have to go back and check the standings, but this might be the first time since Mega Evolutions that number 1 and number 2 don't include psychic or fighting.
Yeah,
I would venture to guess that you're correct on that. It's been a brown and purple heavy top 4, and to say that something else has cracked the top 2 is a rare occasion.
yeah.
Yeah,
After the
so
Mega Evolutions 3K, the meta like rounded out really, really, really quickly. It was kind of just like a race to figure out the fighting matchup. Because that seemed like, that was, the hot new deck, and it was what everybody wanted to play, and it's what everybody was trying to figure out how to beat. Um, and
yeah,
water,
it's a very polarizing type of deck, and it just has a lot of tools. It's super fast with the Solrock and Lunatone, super buff, like high HP count with the Okie Dogie, and then it also has the spread package as well. It's just kind of got a little piece of everything, and it does each of those like better than most types.
yeah,
While even though it's trying to do all of it at once, so it's a very hard deck to deal with for so many types. And yeah, so it just made the meta kind of collapse on itself. Still really fun meta because it's kind of fun to figure out how to beat this new list and make all the text for it. But yeah, psychic and purple and fighting have really dominated.
yeah. I wanted to like mention how after that 3K, like water kind of fell into, I feel like, a really awkward position in the meta because it didn't get any new cards, and obviously nothing got banned. Um, but it kind of like fell, you know, by the way, because fighting, we cooked up, the garb list, the psychic list, so that was kind of also like a hot new deck people were trying out. Unfortunately, we didn't know at the time. We had a terrible matchup into the new fighting deck that was cooked up. Um, but yeah, those 2 types kind of dominated our local scene, and I feel like water didn't get any worse necessarily. Maybe took a little bit
Yeah,
of a rougher matchup into garb, and
I mean, people just kind of stopped playing it. Like I
yeah,
think most of us were just playing either fighting or psychic. Like I was playing psychic pretty much exclusively until I got my badge.
same with me.
Um, it just I just really love playing psychic now, and I I like yeah, I don't know. Water has kind of fallen to the wayside for me a little bit, and it's hard to say if it is that much worse or if it really is just kind of a smaller percentage of the meta, so we're not seeing it as much. But it definitely can still win badges, obviously. Um,
100%.
it's that third type right now. It's just a little underplayed in the meta compared to psychic and fighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, we can jump into John's run though, because he chose
Yes,
metal for
sir.
some reason. I don't know why he's choosing metal, but why don't you
Listen,
tell us,
all
John,
right.
why you're choosing metal?
So when you end up with on the badge board with a fighting badge, a water badge, and a psychic badge, you're starting to run out of options. There's a pretty clear division, it feels like, in the meta where that however you rank decks, that those three are sort of a tier above the rest, and then there's a little bit of a drop. And so you kind of go to this place where you're like, well, I'm still trying to win badges, what the heck do I run? And um metal kind of felt like the next obvious choice to me. It has of course the Zamazenta that is tried and true, can just take out guys basically no matter the HP and stuff. It's got a lot of things that other types have, like the bronze lung that accelerates energy. It's got draw with the Rev of Room. It's just a type that has a lot of these different pieces that other types have. They just does it like a little worse than all of them. Like Rev of Room, you need the energy attached to it. The Jirachis, whichever one you're playing, they either look at the top two, where like things like Mew and Psychic dig a little deeper, or the other Jirachi that like puts itself to sleep. So it's just like any card that you find in Psychic is like you can find another type that does it just a little bit better. But um, Metal still is I think a very good type, and one of the things that came out recently in I can't read the set symbol there, but I believe it's Mega Evolution, the Archaludon,
I think it's
I
or
think
Phantasmal
it was
Flames.
is that the
Phantasmal.
next set?
Yeah,
Is it
Phantasmal
Phantasmal? Okay,
Flames.
so
Yeah.
yeah, the Archaludon that came out in Phantasmal has that coded attack, as you can see there, that prevents any damage done to it by basic Pokemon. And if you look at the top like two type, I mean water's in there too, but the top two types being psychic and fighting, um their attackers are almost exclusively basic Pokemon. And so when this card came out, you look at it and you go, okay, well, this card can almost wall out most of the top two decks. So it was a card I definitely wanted to try to build around. And this list, I'll give a shout out to Costello. It sort of started with his Metagross metal list with the Metangline and the Metagross. I felt like that was the easiest list to kind of change and orient around this Archaludon. Um, so sort of started there, and then started to change some things around to make it work. The Archaludon only doing 120 damage, while it's in the format that's the highest damage that a basic blocking attack has. There's other things and other types that do it, like the water has one, and like the ice skew. And there's a few other types that have ones that just aren't nearly as good, but that's just not quite 120 is just not quite getting there. And so that's where that you can see the gold there. The Galarian Berserker sort of comes in to help boost that damage a little bit, just so you can get those like Iron Boulder numbers, and those Pokemon that have 130 HP, like Lucario and Fighting. And so that's kind of the main like changes in the things that happened to the list from when I first looked at Costella's list from there. And the Berserker. The other thing to note about the Berserker is it also boosts the one thing the Zamazenta can't usually KO, which is the Wailord with an enormous 240 HP. You've got the Muscle Band in there that can help, but the Berserker is just a permanent thing that can kind of help with that. And so that's the gist of the deck. Thoughts on it right now? I think there's too many Pokemon in there. You only have 6 spots on the bench, and there are 16 metal guys sitting over there on the left side of that picture.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot.
this list is definitely not its final version, but I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's something I want to keep messing with. So
How
What
um,
is
did the
what is the
Archaludon perform?
the Archaludon has a target on its back. I'll tell you that much.
Mhm.
The it is people know what it does now. They see the Duraludon go down, and if they know that their attackers are basically exclusively basic Pokemon, they are going exclusively to take that Archaludon down, because they know that's while it's my win condition, they know that that's their lose condition. So it works if you can get it up, but it's got a big target on its back.
What does the
So.
Zacian do?
So the Zacian, that's something I tried out just this week. I was wanting to try out some other some different attackers. That's one of the reasons there are so many Pokemon on this list, is because I was just wanting to see how these guys fared. So the Zacian and Cobalion were recent additions to the list, just to kind of try them out. The Zacian came in super useful because it does a base base 10 damage, no, 20 damage. And then it does 10 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon for one single energy. And so that maxes out at 70 damage, which is taking out like a lot of evolving basics. So it's a really good early game attacker. When I get into my run, I'll talk about one matchup that it came in super useful in, but it's just a really low cost guy that you can start the game with, sort of like that Iron Crown as well. And then with the Muscle Band and the Berserker boosting damage, you can kind of get his damage up there too as well, and to KOing some key things. So
Yeah, I like the Berserker inclusion for those specific math fixes. I think it does kind of help. But yeah, there is a lot. He is helping all these little guys, but there is a lot of little guys. So yeah, I'm excited to see how you will iterate on it. But yeah, why don't you walk us
got to figure
through
out which guys are going to stay and which guys get the axe.
yeah, totally. So yeah, why don't you walk us through how your night actually went? What were your matchups and stuff?
Yeah, so round one was a stream match. So there is it the Tricky Gym channel or the Tricky Gym VODs channel, if people want to check
It's
out any
just
of these
regular Tricky
matches we're
Gym
talking
now.
about? Just on the Tricky Gym channel.
just
So
the
yeah,
regular channel.
on the
Yeah.
Tricky Gym channel, if we're talking about a stream match, you guys can always check that out there. But yeah, the first match was stream match against Poison Grass. It was a very interesting build that had the Venomoth and the Ariados that poison, and it can let the Venomoth snipe 90 damage if the Pokemon is the opposing Pokemon is affected by a special condition. So the goal is kind of to lock a Pokemon in the active with a special condition and just snipe around it. And this version had obviously Torterra, as most grass decks do, and it also had the item log Vileplume. So really just trying to be disruptive and sniping. Kind of got into a weird board state where the Torterra opponent was playing very well and making good decisions. They were not taking knockouts when they had the opportunity to, with my Zamazenta just sitting on the bench waiting to take down the Torterra. And so we had a little bit of a weird mid-game stall out, but eventually came out on top in that one. Round two, I ended up playing Mr. Dweesh himself on the Dwixty. This is a matchup where Zacian actually came into play. I sort of elected, instead of using my Arven to get like a Buddy Poffin to set up, I just went straight for the Nest Ball and the tool, so that I could just start taking knockouts with the Zacian early, because there was a Mew active and I only needed to do 60 damage. So the Zacian just put on that immediate pressure in the knockout, in the beginning of the game, and took that knockout. And really, and I was able to do that twice because they got the Mew back and just were not set up enough, so I had to go back into it. And really just kind of ran away from the game from there. Got very lucky in this matchup. I sort of started keeping track of the blind top deck entry Metagross that have happened. I late in the game, after I got hit with the whole, bench wipe, Dusknoir blow up, knock out the active, Parallel City, I top decked the Metagross that let me put it immediately into play and then draw 3 cards.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So broken.
and so that was my third top deck entry for the season out of all the Metal games I've played, and really just set me up to close out the game there. So
I feel like that's a pretty high
Without
number
stacking,
considering.
right? Like
it's
Yeah.
kind of wild. It makes me just kind of, even if the deck doesn't have the Metang line, kind of just want to throw a Metagross in there with how often it's happened.
Yeah, what the hell? Sure, go Metagross.
go my Metagross.
Yeah.
Round 3, I don't really want to talk about. You can watch it if you want to, but it was a very gruesome slow donk on stream against fighting. It was funny. We were setting up to play, and my opponent Sean was like, kind of complaining about his opening hands, saying he didn't have a really good setup, and then went second, but benched Blood Moon Ursa Luna with 2 energies attached, and had a third in hand and Guzma to take out my only setup Pokemon, and just steamrolled me from there, because the energy was the special energy that allowed it to do 20 more damage.
The strong energy.
And so
me and Tony were watching together, and we were shouting at our screens. We were like, "No,
Dude,
not this way, bro, not this way." We were
It's
cheering for you, and it was painful.
watching your goat go down hard. It's
my
not
goat is
easy to
lost,
watch. Not like it's not like
it was so funny because it was theoretically it was genuinely a bad start from both of us. His bad start was just better.
Yeah. I mean, me and Ben are sitting at home, and obviously we couldn't show up, but it's like we hear Alex, is 3-0 or whatever, or 2-0-1, and like, like obviously you're our co-host and our friend, and we're cheering for you anyway, but like we also are cheering on Alex's downfall. We need someone else to get the badge.
Yeah.
So it was like a double whammy when you lost. It was like I just watched my pal go down, and I also just pretty much we're freeing up the badge for Alex.
Yeah, a tough one for tough loss for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round 4 closed it out. Played against Fran, playing water with the what do you call that Pokemon? The lobster Pokemon.
Clawitzer.
Really cool inclusion in the deck because without needing to set up your energy acceleration in the Baxcalibur and in the Frostmoth, it accelerates energy to itself when it moves from the active to the bench. It's like a reload ability, so you switch it back and it reloads energy, I think, from your hand to it, which
I believe so.
was really cool, and it was able to take a knockout when I didn't expect it to, because when water doesn't have its rain dancers on board, you don't think it's going to do much, and the Clawitzer came out of nowhere and took me out. Unfortunately for Fran, what it did take out was the start of this game. I said earlier that my third top deck entry Metagross blind happened. This was the fourth. Going first, my first draw of the game was Metagross. Put it into play. Drew 3 additional cards.
I think
fully set up my board.
We need an investigation on this.
Attached an energy to it.
No way.
Had Jirachi in the active. It was about as dream of a setup as that gets.
You started the Jirachi
took the
too?
knockout and then started the Jirachi. I was not entirely convinced myself that I wasn't cheating.
Yeah, that's way too
Episode 1 and we're already getting cheating allegations.
That's way too lucky, dude.
Yeah, my co-host is getting canceled right in front of me, bro.
If that was me, I'm calling
I wouldn't believe you if I didn't shuffle the deck myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just was sort of able to, with that fantastic start, she likes some of us, was able to kind of run away with the game from there. So there wasn't much more to mention in that game. But yeah, putting me at a record of 3-1, and Resistance, luckily enough, putting me at second place there. So pretty decent run, with an unfortunate donk only being my only loss.
Yeah, well, nicely done. It was fun to watch you and hear about the games. And you think you're going to run this deck again next week?
You'll have to tune in next week and see.
Oh.
Yeah, all right. Why don't we get into what Carpenter played to
Here
the badge.
Is the Milopump list.
That's right. And so for those of you who don't know, this is a newer variation of Hydro Pump, originally created by the Team Turbo Blaze GLC guys. It's got Wailord, of course, and you're gonna pump energy onto him, but only one accelerator in the Frosmoth. Instead, relies on a lot of additional support from the Sparkling Ripples Melodic, which, if you can read it here, it says when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve your Feebas, you can get any card from your discard pile back into your hand. So it's a really interesting way to recur resources that you might not usually be able to recover. And you can use it to help you set up. You can use it to heal your Wailord over and over with Mallow and Lana. You can use it to get Hex Maniac back on multiple turns. That's why it plays the Scuba Net and the Devolution Spray, synergizing both with the Milotic and the Shady Dealings Inteleon to reuse those key abilities. And really, as you can see, the only attackers in the deck are Wailord and Inteleon, and there is a Wishy-Washy, just as like another big basic body. But the whole strategy the deck relies on getting your board set up with all these strong Wailord as soon as possible, and just make your opponent deal with him. It also plays the reversal energy to kind of make up for that lack of energy acceleration support. But yeah, it's an incredibly strong deck. Alex obviously was able to pilot it to the badge with his 301 finish. Have either of you guys ever played against this or played with it?
I
But not the. No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I've played against it in an online webcam tournament, I believe. But I've never. I mean, obviously, I'm familiar with the deck. I try to keep in touch with what other people are building. What they're bringing, what they think is cool and new and good. So I played against it once in an online webcam tournament, and that's my only experience against it. I've never played any games with it.
So yeah, I did want to add. So yeah, hearing Alex talk about Alex has been playing this deck at locals, and then there's another shop that does a GLC night every other week. And I went there, and he was playing this deck, and he's been talking about this deck for a little while. Yeah, you mentioned cutting down the only attackers being just the Wailord, the Wishy-Washy, and the Inteleon. And he's been famously saying over the past few weeks, if it isn't Inteleon, why am I putting it in play if it doesn't have 180 more HP? Something that can take a hit, something that has a possibility to uptrade. And so I think that's really where the strength of this deck comes in, is that its guys are huge. They are few, but they are huge. And the rest of the deck is pure consistency and just works really well. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Tony, why don't you walk us through pretty quickly? You don't have to spend much time, but just what was Alex's path to victory?
Yeah. He gave us some notes about his run. Round 1, he played against the Dwixty. And Alex's note actually for this game is that he says this was his tie. Let me just preface that first. His note is that if there was more turns, he would have lost this game. So that's a win for the Dwixty in my book. I mean, I'm the Dwixty's #1 defender. That's a win
We've
for the
said
Dwixty in
Dwixty a
my
lot.
book.
Please tell us what the Dwixty is real quick. I know we had like a little sentence for it on the screen.
Yeah.
The Dwixty, for our audio listeners, what the heck is the Dwixty?
The Dwixty is a psychic deck that my good friend Dylan Ryan used to get top 4 at our most recent Phantasmal Flames 3K, and it's Gallade Dusknoir psychic, but it plays like Goose Hala engine with Tropical Beach and Capture Energy. That's what makes it unique compared to other maybe just straight Gallade decks like the one that Ben played and got top 8 with, that me and him worked on. It's kind of just straight Gallade, no special technology. But yeah, that's the Dwixty. So also what I have my psychic badge with. Dylan's still chasing his psychic badge, but he got the top 4.
So I do want to add, I was there for the end of this game and watched it. So the loss would have been the last attack of the game that his opponent did was Wob in the active, knocking out something with damage counters on it after an Iono to 1. And so he had no abilities and 2 cards in hands. Alex did, and so that's the I would have lost that he is referring to.
Yeah,
Dang.
that's
You hate
about
to
as good
see
as
it.
it gets. That's like the line you chase against any water deck.
Oh man, Alex is counting his lucky stars to end up on the top of the list after that. All right, what happened round two?
All right, round two. Alex played against a Hydro Pump deck, and it sounds like he kind of spawn trapped his opponent's Energy Accelerator with Guzma. You know, he can use Milotic to recur the Guzma. He could use Inteleon to search for Versus Seeker. You know, a lot of stuff like that. So it makes it, this build makes it pretty easy to recur resources and find resources in a very efficient manner. Round three, he played against Sablelock, which is a deck we don't see a lot of. I don't know if I've ever seen it ever played at locals, actually. It's a dark control deck. Alex says he got a turn 2 Whalelord attack. That's gonna win you uh, quite a bit of games, quite a few games. And to close out Alex's night on stream, he beat RDT. The RDT player Sean kind of bricked. Unfortunate from his side. Alex didn't have necessarily the best start, but he got moving. Ended up with a turn 3 Whalelord, and against an opponent that's not
I
really
know
doing anything.
I know Alex said he didn't have a good but they both didn't have a good start. But when you get a turn three whaler, like he had Basculin,
He played a supporter every
like on
turn.
his. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. Like
I mean,
I don't know
it
what else we could have asked for. Like he Basculin and set up his whole board on his first turn. Like
obviously it wasn't not like by the book. It wasn't like like I'm pretty. Did he play a Lilies or something? Like he was gonna get there
no,
eventually.
he like played ball guy and
Yeah,
he was chilling. And I don't know, he
yeah,
was chilling. Like it took him 3 turns to attack with Wailord, but who cares?
yeah.
Like that's exactly what you
It
want
doesn't
to
get
do.
like much better than that, to be honest.
Oh man, I know. That's why I'm like, why are you saying you had a bad hand, bro? You set up everything you needed. Anyways, so yeah, that was Alex's run, 301 into first place on a small night at the Full Group Games local. I also asked him for his, final thoughts on the deck as a whole. He definitely really likes it. I think it's probably his favorite way to play Water right now. He thinks Milotic is incredibly strong to reuse those key pieces, like Tony said in that round. Uh, you can just like put on so much pressure. As soon as you get an advantage and your opponent like can't respond to the whale order, can't knock out the Milotic or Inteleon in that turn, it's just so easy to extend that advantage with all your search abilities and recursion abilities. Like it's just you just take advantage of the weakest parts of whatever your opponent is doing, and it's one of the best decks at doing that thanks to the Milotic. Um, and yeah, he picked it up a while ago because he said he was kind of sick of Kyogre in Hydro Pump. He thought Kyogre was it has like an extremely high power output, obviously sniping 180 anywhere. It's also kind of the point that a lot of decks look to capitalize on when someone attacks with Kyogre, like especially Psychic, which is the most popular deck. You kind of are hoping the Hydro Pump player will attack with Milotic or with a Kyogre, sorry, because you can. And they put all the energy back into hand, and if they don't have another guy powered up, it's really easy to drop a Hex Maniac, drop an Iono to send all those energies to the bottom, and swing back with Mimikyu to snipe any of their accelerators. So Kyogre is definitely an incredibly strong card, but Alex, I think, rightfully noticing that it might be a bit of a weak point in the Hydro Pump list right now in the meta. So he tried to swap to this deck, really loving it. Obviously, some success there. He said one thing he would really want in the deck is the Basket Legion, just as another attacker. This deck is filled with support Pokemon, and you do often need to help set up the support Pokemon. But he was saying then it just ends up staying on board for most of the game because no one's targeting it down. So to give it a little extra use, instead of just sitting on the bench as 50 HP, put the Basket Legion in the deck. Now it's an easy revenge attacker for when you do find yourself on the back foot. Yeah, so that's the Milopump deck. Anyone wanting to try out a new version of Water, I would definitely recommend it. And again, shout out the Turbo Blaze squad for their work on the deck.
Shout out to the Blazers. These guys are always cooking.
Always in the kitchen.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So why don't we just quickly show off the badge board for the full group game season? You can see this at my website, glc.morsemakes.com, where I keep all of our stats. Alex getting his 5th badge. John and Tony rounding out the 2nd and 3rd place spots with 3 and 2 badges apiece.
Don't forget about Hunter.
And then little old me.
Don't forget about
I know
Hunter.
Hunter's. I'm just mentioning you guys, but
Appreciate it.
Hunter, of course, the other person with a 2nd badge, which he got, about a week ago, and little old me still with 1 badge. We're only about halfway done with this season, so still a lot of time left. How are you guys feeling about the season so far?
I am ready for more people to get badges of the purple and fighting variety, so that we can kind of start to see the meta shift a little bit. That's the interesting part about this badge structure system is when you win with this really strong type, which everyone's trying to play at the beginning, it becomes off the table and you aren't able to play it anymore, and you have to go to other types. And so, as more and more people acquire those badges, the meta naturally shifts a little bit because people aren't playing those really strong types anymore, and they're dropping down to like the more mid-tier types. So it's kind of just waiting for that point. It's a little harder when you have more badges right now to find a type that can combat these really strong archetypes. So sort of just waiting to see when that shift happens.
Yeah. There was a minute there where me and John were both on the Psychic and Water badge front. We had a little bit of a joke going back and forth that we need to be in cahoots on what we were going to play next, because obviously the top 3 choices are Psychic, Water, and Fighting. Right now I'm kind of suffering from the fact that I've been jamming the Fighting the past couple weeks, and I've had fine finishes. But again, it feels like deck is good, but it feels like everybody in the room is kind of ready for it, maybe if I played it like a month or so ago, maybe, certain, like maybe the waters I would be playing, wouldn't be playing Rough Seas, just little things like that. Of course I could always, clean my play up. But don't want to blame everything on, on my opponents. I am the unluckiest player in the room.
So true, so true.
Yeah, but I'm feeling pretty like happy to have more than 1 badge, because I was just 1 badge Tony all of last season.
That's right. Now I'm the worst person in this chat room right now. I'm the worst person in the chat lounge. Yeah, I've been on a little side quest in recent weeks, playing out the secret, unmentioned top tier deck Eggmill. I've played it about 3 or 4 times now. It is incredibly strong. I have pretty good record with it so far. I think I've gotten at least 3 wins every week I've played it. A couple ties in there as well, because it is a bit of a slower control deck, but I've actually really enjoyed it. At this point, since I do only have my Psychic badge, I'm debating on if I should keep sticking with the egg deck and trying to get a win with the grass deck, or if I should, prioritize these more badge earning types of fighting and water to kind of catch up to you guys. So we'll see what happens next week. I don't know if I'm going to switch or not, because it is fun to play the egg deck. People give me really dirty looks, but that's the joy that I get as well. But anyways, so yeah, that's how the season's going so far. Yeah, like I said, about halfway done. We're at week 23. It's going to be, I think, a little under 50 weeks this year, since Christmas and New Year's both fell on a Thursday, and we had no GLC league those nights. So it's still anybody's season. Like, Alex is definitely ahead right now, but like we've talked about, his deck choices are becoming more and more limited. And if he was able to get these 5 badges in the first half of the season, anybody could have a hot second half of the season and catch right back up. So I am very excited to see if anybody will be able to catch up to him. And right now, that person is Jon Patterson.
You're our last hope, John.
A lot of people on the board, though. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a little bit in our discussions that there are a lot of people on the board compared to past years at this point. There was people piling up 2, 3, 4 badges before people were even getting on the board, but we have for a while it was just a new person on the badge board every single week. So with it being so spread so far out, I mean, it truly is anyone's game. Someone can have a pop off 2 weeks and just be at the same point I am, ready to catch up with Alex too. So
Yeah.
That's right.
To go back and talk about it a little bit, we were talking about before with the psychic and fighting. Look at all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight weeks. Psychic fighting.
Psychic and fighting only 9 straight weeks. And only 1 water badge breaking that up a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been.
Oh yeah, and look, there's still
13. If Jon hadn't won that water badge, it would have been, another psychic or fighting. That would have been what, 13, 14 weeks in a row of psychic and fighting.
Yeah.
That was exactly when Mega Evolutions came out that this started. So you just saw the power level of fighting take off, and psychic kind of being the best type to deal with fighting.
Yep.
In that meta. Yeah, very dominant. Still incredibly fun, and we have new cards to talk about. Actually, that
yes, we do.
Might
boy do we
continue to shake up the meta. So in Japan, in the next couple weeks, the new set NIHIL 0 is going to be coming out. A lot of new cards there, including Mega Starmie EX, everybody's favorite new Mega. My favorite new Mega, definitely. I love Mega Starmie. But yeah, so every new set reveal, there's always some fun GLC cards to talk about as well. And this is definitely a dramatic set. There's a lot of good stuff. And wouldn't you know it, all the good stuff is brown or purple.
Big shocker.
Pokemon Company has a type.
Yes,
2
to
be exact.
Type. Yeah, 2 types right now. But right now, there's going to be some special energies for each type, and we're kicking it off with grass, fighting, and psychic. So, and I'm hopeful in the next few sets, as this year goes on, 2026, we're going to see some other types get some love as well. It just happens to be psychic and fighting first. So why don't we scroll through, talk about some highlights pretty quickly, because we've gone on for a while already.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the spicy stuff at the end. Yeah. You guys can look this up on PokeBeach to see the rest of the set yourself. We're just going to talk about a few highlights. The Vivillon is interesting. It forces your opponent to shuffle their hand down to 4. It also is able to do 120 for 1 if there's a stadium in play. And also important to note, it has the basic in stage 1 that can evolve on the first turn in play. So you could get a stage 1 Vivillon doing 120 damage and disrupting your opponent's hand. Who knows if it's going to be dominating our GLC meta or not, but it's definitely an interesting tool that we have coming to us.
We have the Aurorus here. It's the first card that Aurorus has got in like quite a long time. It's a pretty interesting card. It takes 50 less. All of your Pokemon have water energy attached. Take 50 less damage. That's like a pretty strong ability considering the like attacking pool that water has. I mean, if you could set this up with a Wailord, that's quite a buff.
Yeah.
But however,
if you can set it up,
it is a stage 2 fossil. Yeah. There is another stage 2 fossil that's coming out that is potentially a lot better than that. One that a lot of our locals have an eye on, and that's the Tyrantrum.
We haven't had a printing of this guy in a while. I think this is the 3rd or 4th printing that we've ever had of a Tyrantrum card. So Tyrantrum fans are loving this, I'm sure. The Tyrantrum has this ability. Again, it evolves from a fossil, so it's a stage 2 Pokemon. Has the ability Tyranno Guts. Wonder how that's going to translate.
That's a
If this
sick.
Pokemon has any special energy attached, it gets 150 HP, which is absolutely enormous. We are talking 330 HP. That is getting into Stage 2 EX. Mega Pokemon, I mean, Mega Lopunny has 330 HP. It's absurd.
Yeah.
The downside being that it evolves from a fossil Pokemon. The attack is also excellent. 160 damage. Flip a coin until you get tails. For each head, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So a little bit of mill action there, but a really strong 160 damage, 330 HP Pokemon. This is statted to the max.
Yeah, it's an incredibly strong on paper. Definitely that limiting factor is it being a fossil. Fossils in GLC are notoriously difficult to both find in your deck because you only have one of them, and the other downside is once a fossil is discarded, there's almost no way to get them back unless you're dedicating a lot of deck space to it. You have to hope your fossil is unidentified fossil, compatible, and then you have to play the excavation map as well on top of that. So it's a lot of deck space for a Pokemon that is on paper actually very similar to the best basic Pokemon in fighting, Okidogi, which gets plus HP, does similar amount of damage on a basic. So the question will just be, is it worth it to even try and dedicate the deck space to get this Tyrantrum in play when you could just say recover Okidogi and swing again? Is 330 HP a big enough difference to make Tyrantrum worth it over Okidogi being at 230 on a basic?
I think it's a card that's like, if somebody, like, it's a card you should always keep your eye on because the stats are so insane on it. But it's gonna be like if somebody finds a way to play it, I don't think it's gonna be the best way to play fighting right away. But if somebody has a list, somebody figures out a way to crack the best way to play it, then it's something you should keep your eye on for sure.
Yeah. Fighting did get one other card if you scroll up a little bit. The other direction, yeah. New stage 1, Barbaracle, which is a new fighting acceleration Pokemon, which allows you to attach an extra energy from your hand to one of your fighting Pokemon once per turn. So normally fighting would use like a Garganacl to have some extra energy acceleration. So we have transitioned from a stage 2 to a stage 1. However, it being from hand as opposed to discard pile is a pretty significant difference, and it kind of remains to be seen how it will be used most effectively. The discard pile just has such good synergy with your Solrock and Lunatone, discarding energy to draw cards. So I imagine like if you're just trying to slap Barbaracle into existing like RDT, let's say, and you have the rocks and Barbaracle down, you might run into situations often where it's like, oh, do I want to attach this energy? Or I probably just want to draw 3 more cards, right? Like you have to kind of like choose between them more often.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like a lot of the best attackers are in RDT, don't need a lot of extra energy acceleration. So my opinion on this guy is, a newer type of fighting deck that we haven't seen yet will have to kind of be built around Barbaracle rather than this just being a card you slap into any fighting deck to improve it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. The energy needing to be in hand just inherently makes it so that you're going to need more recovery in the deck. So adding things, RDT already played, retrieval. You got the Clara and stuff, but like it's not going to be enough if you're constantly trying to discard cards to draw and then also use this guy to power things up from hand. So
Yeah.
definitely some your deck needs to be built around this guy for sure.
Yeah. I'm a little torn because it's like you're not cutting Lunatone and Solrock from your deck, like ever. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's gonna I don't know, there's gonna have to be a balance there.
Fighting is getting one new good recovery card if you scroll
Yeah.
down to the supporters. The Tarragon, which is basically Tulip or Nessa for fighting. You can get up to 4 of any fighting energy or fighting Pokemon from your discard pile back to hand. So that definitely synergizes with both the rocks and the Barbarical. So like I said, I think there is definitely synergy out there for Barbarical to be successful. I think the big thing will just be finding when you're attacking for 1 energy with Soul Rock, 1 energy Tinglu, 2 energy Okidogi. It's just like for to play an other energy accelerator support Pokemon, 1 energy Lucario I didn't even mention. Um, it's just like okay, like I'd want to start seeing inclusion of fighting Pokemon that are worth it that maybe cost like 3 energies to attack to make before Barbarical seems like necessary.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it right now. But obviously, I'm not a big fighting deck guy. I don't. It's not my favorite deck to play. I've barely played it. I've played it once at League this year. So I'm not the expert. So I'm excited to see what people can cook up with these new cards because they're definitely strong cards. They're definitely great tools for fighting to have access to. But I think it does remain to be seen if they're going to be if RDT, for example, the best fighting deck right now, will be better off. The Tarragon is definitely going in. That card is busted.
For sure.
It easily replaces Clara, if not gets added in addition to it. This is definitely the best fighting card, I think, revealed. But for the Pokemon, we'll see. I think Tyrantrum is just going to be more fun than it is like meta defining, for sure.
Now, there is one pretty big difference between this card and Tulip and Nessa. Ben, can you tell me what that is?
No, I can't. Why don't you tell me? What is it?
Miss Tarragon here has an immaculate beard.
All right. All right.
Oh, brother.
When I played, did you guys play ZA?
No.
I still got to finish it. I'm very close to the end, but
All right. So Tarragon is in ZA, and for those of you who know, he is the grandfather of Canary, the lightning type, like gym leader in ZA, who's like a streamer. But up until you like meet Canary, she's only like a hologram, right? But you interact with this shady old man who like knows stuff about her, and I don't think I'm the only one who was expecting him to be the hologram. I don't know if I break
it
up at the
definitely
end
led you to believe that.
Yeah. So that was just funny. But anyways, he does have a great beard. I thought the beard was going to come off and he was going to be a teen girl or something.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
It just detaches like a Lego piece.
Like it's her disguise. She's like disguised as an old man in real life because she's so much of a celebrity. Whatever. He's beard. I can't grow facial hair like that, so it's not what I look at in a full art card or anything. Unlike Jon, apparently.
Yeah, we can't all be blessed with the facial hair like Jon.
Yeah, what can I say? I'm drawn to it. Game notices
anyway, I think it's time we get to the actual most polarizing card that was revealed in the set, which is the new Psychic Special Energy Telepath Energy. Tony, what does Telepath Energy do?
Telepath Energy is potentially one of the most broken cards that we've seen get released for GLC. In the past, year or two, it's up there with Fan Rotom, up there with Lunatone and Soul Rock. Yeah, except this time, it's a card that's getting released for what is probably the best type in the game. The Telepath Energy lets you, when you attach it from your hand, search your deck for 2 basic Psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. It's a double capture energy, and it is a Psychic energy. So you don't lose, capture energy is a colorless, fulfills a colorless attack cost. This, not only does it not fulfill a colorless attack cost, it fulfills regular Psychic, but it doubles what capture energy does in the first place already. So it's just instant board setup for a deck that already has its own, unique type searching cards like Mysterious Treasure, Fall Crystal. Um, a lot of people are up in arms about this. Kind of me included. I love playing Psychic. This just seems like an outrageously blatant buff to what is I think is the best deck. Let me know how do you guys feel about this?
Special energy like this comes out, and it continues to make Guzma and Hala such an incredible combo card. You're getting this energy, and possibly, if you build your deck the way, if you're really just wanting to set up and just get like Artisan or the Dimension Valley, so that you can essentially maybe do something for free on the first turn or less cost with this energy, attaching it where you want to and using the Dimension Valley for whatever attack you're using. And then getting the tool, or it's just it brings this whole thing together and makes Psychic so immensely powerful. It really is. It feels like when Fan Rotom came out is like, okay, this type gets a free setup now, is really what this feels like.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good supporters that will search out the energy. Like you can, I think Hilda becomes even more busted in Psychic because you can. I haven't even thought about Hilda till right this second, but you can get this energy, set up 2 basics, and have an evolution in hand for your next turn. Um, yeah, it's Battle VIP Pass, but you can play on any turn while also, you know, attaching an energy. Yeah, it's an absolutely busted card. The best special energy Psychic has access to by far. Um, as someone who loves playing Psychic, I'm super excited to play it. I can't wait to. I think it's gonna shift. At least when I'm starting to test it, it's gonna kind of define how I'm gonna build decks a little bit. Like I'm gonna go into Psychic, with the Guzma and Hala package in mind right away. Now, before it was like some Psychic decks play Guzma Hala setup package. Um, but with this card's existence, I think every Psychic deck's gonna want Guzma Hala because you have great stadiums already. It was just like, do you want to devote, uh, you know, capture energy space into your Psychic deck? Usually, I don't want to. Now I get a double, and you can search out TM Evo as well. You can search out, yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Truly
It's going
endless.
to be an incredibly strong card. It's going to go in every Psychic deck. It's an instant one of in every single Psychic deck. Um, and yeah, I think, people are definitely upset that it's another tool for Psychic. Um, I encourage those people to play Psychic instead. Join the dark side, join the purple side. It's really fun. Psychic decks, Psychic mirrors are incredibly fun. Psychic is still going to be one of the best types with or without this card. It remains to be seen, if this is going to like necessarily push Psychic far and away BDIF, like there's still play there. GLC is a deep game. This is just a one of. Um, I'm incredibly hyped. I like when strong cards are revealed because it gets me excited. Like I haven't. This is what we're gonna have at our next 3K. All these cards, and up until this card was revealed, I'm like, whatever. Like I don't know. There's not anything new to test yet. Like obviously we hadn't had every card reveal, but if there was nothing really worth testing, and the best card we got was Tarragon for fighting, that's a little disappointing in my mind. So this idea that like these really good cards for good types should not be printed, I don't necessarily agree with. I think it's incredibly fun. I think when Force of Vitality came out and it didn't get banned, it's exciting because it gets your mind running. It gets people who are excited to build new decks, gets their mind working, and gives me something to really look forward to and work towards. So I'm super pumped up for the next 3K. I don't know about you guys because of this card alone, honestly.
I'm insanely pumped. I like of course, like if anybody in the right mind like knows this card's insanely broken. Um it worries me a little bit, but at the same time I'm a guy who's going to go to 3K and gonna play what I think is the best deck, and it's probably gonna be purple, and it's absolutely gonna be playing this card. So that part of it excites me. Um I'm ready to start cooking. I'm ready I'm ready to innovate. I'm ready to find the
Be
best
ready.
deck.
If you're ever
That's right.
upset
Yeah.
that, Pokemon Company's printing such broken cards for an already broken type, as Ben said, just play that type.
Play that type, beat that type. It's fun. It's fun. Like when RDT came out, it's incredibly strong. It's sometimes sucks to play against because of how strong it is. But like when new broken stuff comes out, that's when deck building becomes the most interesting, and that's you know more than half the fun of GLC is kind of like oh, how am I gonna beat this deck? What am I gonna do? Like what tools do I have access to? And in the wide range of expanded cards to maybe counteract what RDT is throwing at me. And what can other decks now do in the face of Psychic? And as fast as Psychic is getting, as good as their setup is, like people are going to start cooking, and I think that's an exciting time. I'm looking forward to seeing what new archetypes come out of these improved consistency pieces. Um, I would love to hear for you listeners, like, what are your guys' thoughts? Is this the end of GLC? I think that's a little dramatic. GLC is still incredibly fun, but if it's the end of GLC for you, let me know. I want to hear. Let's argue. Um, yeah. Uh, Anyways, so those are the new cards from the NIHIL Zero set. We're not going to get those cards for a while. Our next 3K is March 28th and 29th at Full Grip Games in Ohio. So we're not even getting these cards until then. So we still have a month, 2.5 months
Two and a
before
half, yeah.
before then. So a while to go, a while for people to recover from feeling down about the new busted Battle VIP Psychic card, um, and maybe come around. But I'm incredibly excited to start working towards that and still playing week to week. Um, yeah. Any final thoughts from you guys about the new cards or how it'll shape the meta?
Yeah, I think when good cards like that get released, or when you mentioned when RDT came out, the discussion around beating that type, and how to counteract these new good cards that are coming out. In our Discord, I think that was like the most we were ever talking about anything, was like how to beat that type. And that's when the format's fun, is when you really gotta think about it. It's a non-rotating format. We get new cards, but things don't change, things don't go away. It doesn't rotate like standard format. Um, that is when the format is at its most fun, is when you're trying to beat that deck that has the big target on its back. And right now that's Psychic, and it looks like it's going to continue to be Psychic as long as that appears to be the Pokemon Company's favorite type. And if you're going to have fun in GLC, just start cooking on how to beat those types, or play them. Do what you want to do.
100%. Kind of to reiterate on what John said, yeah, those days after the 3K when we were, you know, trying to figure out what was, we had such a strong first-hand experience about how rough of a matchup we thought the Psychic versus RDT was, and like we found the Cresselia and tested with the Cresselia and figured out that card we think changes the matchup quite a bit, turns the matchup on its head quite a bit. So stuff like that, yeah, it really just it makes the format so much fun. Just cook with your friends, talk to people you know, listen to their ideas, come up with some ideas of your own, and just share it. That's when the format is the most fun. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I'm incredibly hyped. I do want to reiterate, like, as busted as the psychic energy is, it does get me even more excited, like I said earlier in the episode, about uh, the other types that will get some focus later in the year, like the next summer set, like with the Greninja set. We're likely that's when we'll likely see the special energy water type, along with a couple other types. Remains to be seen. What will those effects be? We have no idea what new support Pokemon will be printed in those types. We have no idea. The format is always changing. At the drop of a hat, any type can get the new best basic Pokemon in the format, like we've seen happen several times in the last couple of years, from from Thumping Snorlax to Fanrotom to Raging Bolt to Okidogi to Solrock and Lunatone. It's all these cards are cards people wanted banned at one point, and when I mentioned Thumping Snorlax, there's some of the top colorless decks don't even play him anymore. Uh, it's just kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't think there's any point in really rushing to a ban. When cards get revealed, we don't always have to be like calling for bans immediately. Let's play with it. Let's see how it goes. Let's try and beat it. Let's explore. Let's deck build. Let's discuss. Yeah, and so look forward to those types in the summer as the new sets come out. If you want to talk more GLC, you can talk about it with us here in the comments. I think in the future episodes, depending on how you guys respond to it, we'd love to read some comments and discuss your guys' idea on the podcast as well. So please let us know below what you want to see from the podcast going forward, what you want to hear about from us, any ideas you have for segments or anything like that. This is a brand new show. We're excited to build it with you guys and make it for you guys, another place to talk about the format we all love. So yeah, please discuss below. Also, we're discussing in the Tricky Gym Discord all the time, in the Turbo Blaze Discord, in the Cardboard Warriors Discord, webcam tournaments, 3Ks every couple of months. A lot of GLC happening. Please get involved. Yeah, I just want to say thanks so much for watching the first episode of the Gym Leader Chat Lounge. Please subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else you find us. Who knows? Yeah, and that's it from me. Thank you, Tony and John, for joining.
Thank you guys for watching.
See you guys.
Pleasure.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. See you later. Bye-bye.
Adios.
See ya.